Welcome students. I am Anita, Biology faculty, Tirupur Toppers Academy Institute. Today we are going to start with the 12th standard portions, and we'll start with the unit reproduction in organisms. So first we'll see the definition of reproduction. Reproduction means the ability of an organism to produce its offspring. Its offspring is called as reproduction, and this reproduction is a part of its regular life cycle. So life cycle எந்த டைமில் வேணாலும் வந்துட்டு ரீப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ணுங்கிறது கிடையாது. Every organism they have their own reproductive age. So when we say about life cycle or a lifespan of an organism, lifespan அப்படினா என்ன அப்படினா from birth till death of an organism together we call it as a lifespan. இப்போ lifespanல வந்துட்டு there are different ages. First, life going to be started with birth, and then there's the juvenile stage. Juvenile stage is the stage of growth, and then is going to be the reproductive stage. So in the reproductive stage la dhaan vandittu organisms vandittu reproduce panna pogudhu. Adhaavadhu reproduction is possible only in reproductive stage. Few organisms they lose their reproducing capacity after a particular period of time. Adukapra vandittu it is going to be aging process, and then is going to be the death finally. There are few organisms which does not undergo a visible aging process. For example, plants la vandittu visible aging kedaiyadu. Aging vandittu is also called as senescence. In the senescence vandittu it is going to be invisible in case of plants, whereas animals la vandittu there is a particular reproductive stage and aging process can be clearly visible. After reproductive age there will be aging, during which there is no reproduction, and finally leading to death. And this lifespan is going to be different for all organisms. So it is going to be different for each and every organism. So now we'll start with the actual part of this lesson, that is the reproduction. Reproduction seen in organisms is majorly of two types. One is called as asexual reproduction, and the other one is called as the sexual reproduction. So first we'll see the difference between the sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction there are going to be only one parent, so it involves the participation of a single parent. So there is no differentiation of a male and female in case of asexual reproduction. Whereas in case of sexual reproduction, two parents, that can be differentiated as male and female. Two parents are going to participate in the reproduction process. The second difference is, in case of asexual reproduction there is no gamete formation, whereas in case of sexual reproduction there is gamete formation. So gamete formation is an unavoidable step in sexual reproduction. Since there is no gamete formation, there is no fusion of gametes. Here it is understood there is gametes fuse to form the structure called as zygote, from which the whole organism is going to develop. here, since there is no gamete formation and gamete formation mainly involves meiosis process, here only mitotic divisions are going to result. Only mitotic divisions results in formation of progeny. For formation of the offspring, or also called as the progeny. Whereas here, since there is gamete formation and then development of zygote, both mitotic and meiotic divisions are going to occur in case of sexual reproduction. And because there is only mitotic division and there is only participation of a single parent, the offspring that is formed is going to be a clone. It is called as a clone because they are identical both morphologically and genetically to their parents, that their parent, actually it is a single parent, to their parent and other offsprings. So if there are 2 or 3 offsprings produced from a single parent, all are going to be identical to each other as well as to the parent also. Whereas in case of sexual reproduction, because there is gamete formation involves meiosis. There is a process in meiosis which is called as the crossing over makes genetic difference, and morphologically they become different because they have the contribution of both the parents, that is 50% of the male and 50% of the female contribution is there. So they are going to be different from parents and the other offsprings of the same parents. And this is because of recombination. One process is recombination, which is making it different, and one more is the fusion of gametes. So gametic fusion also make them different from each other. So these are the basic differences between asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. And example of organisms taking place that is dividing by asexual reproduction is most of the unicellular organisms, few algae, and there are few plants also that take up asexual reproduction. And sexual reproduction is seen in higher plants and animals. Higher plants and higher animals, they divide, most preferably they take up only sexual reproduction. So first we'll start in detail about asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is going to involve only one parent or a single organism that is going to divide to give rise to its offsprings. And there are different types of asexual reproduction. So first type of asexual reproduction is fission, that is the organism dividing into two, it is called as fission. The next type is budding, formation of buds and those buds growing into the whole organism. The next is spore formation. Different types of spores are formed. And the next is fragmentation, that is pieces of organisms growing into whole organism is called as fragmentation. And one more different type, very rarely seen in some organisms, is plasmotomy. So we'll see all these in detail in separate now with their examples. The first one is fission. Fission means an organism divides into two equal halves or many equal halves so that they form their offsprings. Fission is of two types. One is called as binary fission. So from their name itself, the cell is going to divide into two equal halves. And the other one is called as multiple fission. So again, from the name itself, the single organism is going to divide into many small pieces, so called as the multiple fission. So for binary fission, it is going to divide into, the parent is going to divide into two cells. So this organism that is dividing by binary fission are considered to be immortal. Why are they considered to be immortal is they are born, that is they take up their birth, then pass their juvenile stage, that is the stage of growth, and then they come into reproductive age. At their reproductive stage, they are going to divide into two again now. They are going to divide into two cells. Now means they are newly formed cells. So these two cells become newly formed cells. So these newly formed cells means they are born newly, and again they are going to undergo juvenile stage and then reproductive stage, again going to divide. So there is no aging, or that is no senescence or natural death for such organisms. So they are called as immortal. Immortal usually refers only to natural death after senescence. Accidental deaths are possible. Example of organism that is taking up binary fission is amoeba. And one more example is paramecium, commonly called as the slipper animalcules, and sometimes euglena also. They can take up the binary fission. Amoeba, it is a shapeless organism with a large nucleus. When it has to divide, it divides roughly into two equal halves, which is again going to grow into the same size and then take up binary fission. And in amoeba, in case of amoeba, the binary fission is usually in the transverse direction. That is like this. The division is going to be in the transverse angle, whereas in paramecium and euglena, the division is going to be a longitudinal division. For example, in case of euglena, it is going to have two flagella, one long and other short flagella. During binary fission, they would first lose their flagella, that is they will not have their flagella anymore. They start dividing from their stoma part. This is the opening, the gullet part. This gullet part first divides into two. So initially, to look like the euglena is going to have two gullets like this. And then it keeps, this division keeps deepening, and finally they are going to form two pieces of the same organism. Then later on they are going to develop their flagella. Then divide into two pieces. Then they develop their flagella, one short and the long flagella. You would have studied this in the 11th standard classes. So divides into two equal structures. So this is longitudinal division that is taking longitudinal binary fission that is taking place. in paramecium and euglena. Paramecium also divides in the similar manner, that is they are going to divide from their longitudinal section. This is a binary fission seen in organisms. The next is multiple fission. Multiple fission, here the parent cell, that is a single cell, is going to divide into many cells. That is why the name itself is given as the multiple fission. Here the cell that is going to take up multiple fission is going to divide its nucleus first. So it is going to take up many nuclear divisions, followed by cytoplasmic division. So first nucleus is going to divide many times. Around each nucleus a small amount of cytoplasm is condensed and then forms a separate cell. Multiple fission is seen, example of multiple fission is seen in Plasmodium, that is the malarial parasite. Not always, mainly when it is going to divide, that is the formation of sporozoids. I am just saying one example for Plasmodium, how it is dividing. Sporozoid formation in the mosquito. So you will be studying the stages of development in the later units. இதில் வந்துட்டு இந்த மொஸ்கிட்டோவில் வந்துட்டு the sporozoid, the first வந்துட்டு the gametes are going to form the ookinete. Ookinete is going to be a thick-walled structure which is going to have the zygotic nucleus inside it. So this ookinete is going to, with their cyst wall, that is that thickened ookinete wall, they are going to first divide their nucleus into many numbers, and then for each nucleus a spindle shaped sporozoid would be formed inside the cell, and then this ookinete wall breaks open to release that spindle shaped sporozoid into the hemocoel of the mosquito. So this is my multiple fission seen in Plasmodium. The same multiple fission is seen in amoeba also. Amoeba usually takes up binary fission, whereas when amoeba is in unfavorable conditions, that is if their environment is unfavorable for their growth, this amoeba undergoes a process called encystation. In unfavorable condition, amoeba undergoes encystation. Encystation அப்படினா என்ன அப்படினா, amoeba which is going to be in irregular shaped organism, this irregular shape would be lost and they get converted into a circular structure, and this circular structure is going to develop a thick wall around it. This is called as the cyst wall, and the process is called as encystation. And this encystation is going to remain as long as there is unfavorable condition. On a return of favorable condition, so once they return back to their favorable condition, they can grow well there அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு கண்டிஷன் எப்போ வந்துட்டு ஃபார்ம் ஆகுதோ அந்த ஃபேவரபிள் கண்டிஷனில் வந்துட்டு within this cyst, this nucleus is going to undergo multiple fission. So within the cyst, the amoeba first divides its nucleus, and each nucleus is going to, so within the cyst itself, so each nucleus is going to take up its own little amount of cytoplasm, and then the cyst wall breaks and they are released outside. So these structures that are released outside, each one is going to grow into a new amoeba. So this is multiple fission seen in amoeba under special conditions. அதாவது unfavorable conditionல encystment எடுத்துக்கும். encystment எடுத்துருச்சு அப்படின்னா they are going to release out during favorable condition after multiple fission. இதே வந்துட்டு favorable conditionல they are living அப்படின்னா they are going to take up only binary fission. So binary fission in favorable conditions. Unfavorable conditionsல இருக்கும்போது encystation, return to favorable conditionல multiple fission. So this is two types of fission reproduction seen in organisms. The second type of asexual reproduction is budding. Budding அப்படின்னா என்ன அப்படின்னா it is going to be a tiny outgrowth which is formed in or on parent body, that is called as the bud, and this bud falls off to grow into the new organism. And again budding is of two types. First one is called as exogenous budding, and the second type is called as endogenous budding. Exogenous budding, from their name itself, buds are going to be formed on the surface of the parent. Formed on surface of the parent body. Example of organisms forming exogenous buds is yeast and hydra. So they form their miniature on their surface. So yeast are more or less oval shaped cells. So for budding they first divide their nucleus. So their nucleus would first divide, then one nucleus alone migrates closer to the wall of the body wall, and wherever that nucleus is going to settle down, there an outgrowth is formed, and that outgrowth is going to pinch off, fall off from the parent body. So this is going to be the parent body, and the bud is going to fall off, and this bud is going to grow back into the adult organism again. So this is exogenous budding seen in yeast. Similarly in hydra is a multicellular organism. Hydra la vanditu they are going to be attached to the substratum. So hydra is going to be attached to the substratum. So here we cannot say that a nuclear divisions is seen separately. அந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் சொல்ல முடியாது. ஏன்னா ஈஸ்ட் யூனிசெல்லுலர் நம்ம இந்த மாதிரி ஈஸியாக டிஃபைன் பண்ணிடலாம். ஆனால் ஹைட்ராக்கு வந்துட்டு அந்த மாதிரி கிடையாது. யூஸ்வலி செல்ஸ் தட் ஆர் ஃபவுண்ட் ஆன் தி எக்ஸ்டர்னல் சர்ஃபேஸ், இந்த சர்ஃபேஸில் இருக்கிற செல்ஸ் வந்துட்டு தே ஆர் கோயிங் டு ஃபார்ம் அண்ட் அவுட் க்ரோத் ஃபர்ஸ்ட். So they are going to form a bunch of cells first, and these bunch of cells are later going to grow into the miniature of that hydra. So it is going to form the miniature of that hydra, and this miniature, which is called as the exogenous bud, is going to fall off. So this one is going to fall off, and once they fall off, they find a suitable substratum for their growth. They are going to grow into the complete adult. So this type of reproduction is seen in hydra. This is by exogenous budding. And endogenous budding, here buds are formed inside the body of the parent. Such buds will be called as endogenous buds. Endogenous buds, the example of endogenous buds is seen in Spongilla. Spongilla is a only freshwater sponge that has been reported so far. Other sponges are purely marine, whereas Spongilla மட்டும் தான் வந்துட்டு freshwater sponge that is seen. இந்த freshwater spongeல வந்துட்டு எப்படி endogenous budding நடக்குது அப்படின்னு பார்க்கலாம். Sponges generally they have their porous body wall. That is, so they are going to have a porous body wall. That is, they will have pores on their body wall, which is going to allow the movement of water in and out of their body. So we are actually drawing a cross section of an sponge. So in the cross section it looks like this. So this is the body wall of the sponge, that is they are going to have pathways through which the water can move in like this. So it is moving in through all these pores, and the water can come out through this one. So the pores through which the water is moving in is called as ostia, and the pore through which the water comes out of the body is called as osculum. And the space that is present in between is called as the spongocoel. Here, when the organism has to undergo budding, that is when they have to form the endogenous bud, the endogenous buds called as gemmules are formed in the spongocoel. So they get accumulated in the spongocoel part. So here are going to be the gemmules that are formed. So the endogenous buds would be formed in this region. So in the nama vandittu I am just putting a small circle here. I will draw one gemmule alone here. So how will a gemmule look like? A gemmule is a ball shaped structure, that is a completely or a perfectly spherical structure, and this spherical structure is going to have an opening. So inner is going to be a cavity which is going to be filled with cells here, and this opening through which the buds are going to be later released, that is the organisms are going to be newly formed, this opening is called as micropyle, and this cavity inside the gemmule is going to be filled with cells. So it is going to be completely filled with cells, and this mass of cells, they are called as archaeocytes. These are archaeocytes. So this is the opening, and these archaeocytes are going to grow inside this central cavity, and this layer that is going to cover, so this is the layer that is going to cover the complete archaeocytes inside, forming the outer cover of the gemmule. So this is a gelatinous cover, and this is going to have some structures inside them, hard spiny structures that are going to give strength to the gemmule. So gemmule வந்துட்டு இந்த ஷேப்பில் மெயின்டைன் ஆகிறதுக்கு ரீசன் வந்துட்டு இந்த ஸ்ட்ரக்சர்ஸ் தான். These structures, they are called as spicules. So these spicules are formed or found inside the cavity of these gemmule. So இந்த மாதிரி வந்துட்டு நிறைய gemmules வந்துட்டு will be present in the inside the spongocoel. Once the gemmules are mature, on maturity, gemmules are released out through the osculum of the sponge. That is, these gemmules are going to come out through this osculum. So they are going to come out through this osculum, and archaeocytes are released out through micropyle. Now each archaeocyte can grow into a complete sponge. So this is how the organism is going to divide by endogenous budding. The next type of asexual reproduction is spore formation. Spore formation we'll be studying different types of asexual spores in kingdom fungi. That is based on the type of fungi that is dividing. There are different types of spores formed. We'll be studying here in spore formation about two different varieties in spore formation, major two types based on their motility alone. One is called as the motile spores and the other one is non-motile spores. Motile spores are mostly seen in algae. அதுக்காக ஆல்கேல எல்லாமே மொட்டைல் ஸ்போர்ஸ் எல்லாம் கிடையாது. தேர் ஆர் நான் மொட்டைல் ஸ்போர்ஸ் இன் ஆல்கே ஆல்சோ, பட் மோஸ்ட் காமன்லி ஆல்கேல வந்துட்டு தேர் வில் பி மொட்டைல் ஸ்போர்ஸ் தட் ஆர் ஃபார்ம்டு. எக்ஸாம்பிள், a type of green algae called as Chlamydomonas. This is going to produce a biflagellate spore which on finding their suitable substratum they can grow into the organism. These motile spores of Chlamydomonas or generally motile spores, flagellate spores seen in algae, they are called as the zoospores. Non-motile spores are seen in fungi. Example of non-motile spore producing fungi is Penicillium, and this non-motile spore is usually formed as chains attached to the surface of the main body, and these spores are called as conidia. So the Chlamydomonas spores, so they are biflagellate spores look like this in case of Chlamydomonas, whereas in Penicillium from the main body they are going to form branches like structures on which structures similar to this are formed, each structure giving rise to small circular conidia. These conidia are going to detach from the end, and each one, so these are actually called as these, each single one is called as a spore which is going to detach from this end. So from they are formed from this end and they are going to detach from the external end, and each one is going to grow into the complete fungal filament. That is, the complete Penicillium can grow from a single spore. So this is a type of reproduction, spore formation seen in the organism, method of asexual reproduction. Another type of asexual reproduction is going to be fragmentation. ஃப்ராக்மெண்டேஷன் அப்படின்னா நம்ம ஃபஸ்ட்டே பார்த்தோம். ஃப்ராக்மெண்டேஷனுங்கிறது வந்துட்டு பீசஸ் ஆஃப் தி ஆர்கானிசம், ஒரு சிங்கிள் ஆர்கானிசம் வந்துட்டு வுட் பி கட் இன் டு டிஃப்ரெண்ட் பீசஸ் அண்ட் தோஸ் பீசஸ் க்ரோ இன் டு த கம்ப்ளீட் ஆர்கானிசம். ஸோ த பாடி ஆஃப் தி ஆர்கானிசம் breaks into pieces and each piece grows into the complete organism. So this is fragmentation. Fragmentation is most probably an accidental method of asexual reproduction, because an organism only mainly for their defense they are going to break their body parts, or accidentally there can be some mechanical damage that is breaking the body into fragments and they can grow into the complete organism. This example of the organism that is taking up fragmentation is Spirogyra. This is an algae, filamentous algae, and their filament break into pieces and each filament can grow into each fragment. So if this is the Spirogyra, which is a filamentous structure, they break into pieces like this, each piece, and this each piece can grow into the complete filament. Such type of reproduction is seen in Spirogyra, which is called as fragmentation. Fragmentation is also seen in another group of organisms which are called as planarians, which is a flatworm or coming under the phylum Platyhelminths. Here the platyhelminths, if they are broken into pieces, and each fragment, so if they are cut accidentally into pieces like this, each fragment can develop the lost part. Means this part would develop the remaining parts. Similarly, this part is going to be present, it is going to develop the remaining parts like this. So like this they can develop the remaining parts. The lost part can be developed in case of planarians. So it can regrow its lost part. So this process is also called as regeneration instead of fragmentation, because here the fragments purposely they do not grow into the complete, they are just regrowing their lost part. They are not growing into complete organisms like this. Actually they form a complete organisms. That is why we study under asexual reproduction. ஆனா இங்க லாஸ்ட் பார்ட்டை வந்துட்டு ரீஜெனரேட் பண்ண போகுது. So it is called as regeneration, because when they are regenerating their old part, they can be in whichever stage of development. ஆனால் இங்க ஸ்பைரோகைரால அப்படி கிடையாது. Once the cell, this part has been fragmented, this one is going to be a newly formed organism. ஆனால் இங்கே ஃபார்ம் ஆகிருக்கிற பிளானேரியா வந்துட்டு நியூலி ஃபார்ம்டு கிடையாது, இது ரீஜெனரேட்டட் பார்ட். மீன்ஸ் இந்த பார்ட்டோட ஏஜ் என்னவோ அதை வச்சு தான் வந்துட்டு தி அதர் டூ பார்ட்ஸ் ஆர் ஆல்சோ கோயிங் டு ஃபங்க்ஷன். ஸோ இட் இஸ் கால்ட் அஸ் ரீஜெனரேஷன் இன் பிளானேரியன்ஸ். The next type of asexual reproduction is plasmotomy. Plasmotomy வந்துட்டு most commonly seen in multi-nucleated protozoans. இதில் மட்டும்தான் வந்துட்டு இந்த பிளாஸ்மோட்டோமிங்கிற ரீப்ரொடக்ஷன் டைப் வந்துட்டு இஸ் கோயிங் டு பி மோர் காமன். பிளாஸ்மோட்டோமியில் வந்துட்டு ஃபர்ஸ்ட், ஸோ த செல் இஸ் கோயிங் டு பி மல்டி நியூக்ளியேட்டட், அதாவது மெனி நியூக்ளியஸ் இருக்க போகுது. ஹியர் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சைட்டோகைனசிஸ் இஸ் கோயிங் டு ஹேப்பன், தட் இஸ் த சைட்டோபிளாஸ்மிக் division is going to happen, and then this is followed by the nuclear division. So nuclear division is going to be next. So first is going to be cytoplasmic division, and then is going to be nuclear division. And example of the organisms that is dividing by plasmotomy is Opalina, Pelomyxa. All these are type of protozoans, and they are going to divide. For example, இப்போ மல்டி நியூக்ளியேட்டட் எப்படி வந்துட்டு ஃபஸ்ட்டு சைட்டோபிளாஸ்மிக் டிவிஷன் நடந்து அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்துட்டு நியூக்ளியர் டிவிஷன் நடக்கும் அப்படின்னா, வில் கன்சிடர் அ மல்டி நியூக்ளியேட்டட் செல். திஸ் இஸ் கோயிங் டு ஹாவ் 8 nuclei. We'll consider this is having 8 nuclei, so multi nucleated condition. ஃபஸ்ட்டு வந்துட்டு சைட்டோபிளாஸ்மிக் டிவிஷன். இப்போது சைட்டோபிளாஸ்மிக் டிவிஷனில் வந்துட்டு this cell is getting 4 nuclei, and the other cell இங்கே வந்துட்டு ஒரு ரஃப் டிவிஷன் மட்டும்தான், ஈக்குவேட்டட் டிவிஷன் எல்லாம் கிடையாது. ரஃப் டிவிஷன் இன்ட்டு 2 cells, ஸோ 4 cells each, 4 nucleus each. அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்துட்டு ஒவ்வொரு செல்லும் என்ன பண்ணுன்னா, இட் will undergo nuclear division to form finally 8 nuclei. ஸோ எவ்வளோ நியூக்ளியே இல்லையோ அதுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி வந்துட்டு they would divide to form the remaining nuclei. So initially it is going to be cytoplasmic division, and then is going to be nuclear division. This such type of division you call it as plasmotomy. Next we'll see few asexual methods of reproduction seen in plants. Plantsல வந்துட்டு the most common method of asexual reproduction வந்துட்டு one is going to be vegetative propagation. vegetative propagation are going to involve only vegetative parts of the plant, that is stem, root and leaf. And one more method of asexual reproduction seen in plants is called as apomixis. Apomixis is going to involve the reproductive part of the plant, but it is going to divide asexually. So that is, it is mainly involving the anther and the ovule. So in the rendu part la vanditu there can be divisions which is resulting in formation of the offspring, but by asexual mode of reproduction, that is there is no fusion of gametes and formation of gametes and all those. So first we will see vegetative propagation. இந்த யூனிட்டில் வந்துட்டு நம்ம வெஜிடேட்டிவ் ப்ரொபகேஷன் மட்டும் படிச்சுக்கலாம். அப்போமிக்சிஸ் வந்துட்டு நம்ம செக்ஷுவல் ரீப்ரொடக்ஷன் அண்ட் ஃப்ளவரிங் பிளான்ஸ் படிக்கும்போது படிக்கலாம். பிகாஸ் இஃப் யூ ஹேவ் டு ஸ்டடி அபவுட் அப்போமிக்சிஸ் யூ ஹேவ் டு நோ த டீட்டெயில்ஸ் ஆஃப் அன் ஆந்தரில் இருக்கிற செல்ஸ், சிமிலர்லி ஓவியூல் இருக்கிற செல்ஸ், அதோட பார்ட்ஸ் எல்லாமே நமக்கு தெரியணும். ஸோ வீல் ஸ்டடி அப்போமிக்சிஸ் டுகெதர் வித் செக்ஷுவல் ரீப்ரொடக்ஷன் ஆஃப் ஃப்ளவரிங் பிளான்ஸ் யூனிட்டில் அப்போமிக்சிஸ் நம்ம படிச்சுக்கலாம். ஸோ வீல் ஸ்டடி அபவுட் வெஜிடேட்டிவ் ப்ரொபகேஷன் alone here. So vegetative parts like root, stem and leaves that help in formation of offspring. So such type of reproduction you call it as the vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation vanditu can be natural or artificial. So we'll see separately, we'll study what is the natural method of vegetative propagation and artificial method of vegetative propagation. First, natural method of vegetative propagation from stem. So from stem, how is the vegetative propagation happening, resulting in formation of new plants? The first type of vegetative reproduction is formation of runners. Runners அப்படினா என்னன்னா, these are plants that are going to develop from the branches. So branches that run horizontally on soil, and the node, when it is going to touch soil perfectly. So when the node is going to come into contact with the soil perfectly, they are going to develop roots on their underside, that is towards the soil, and new branch aerially. Such type of formation of new plants will be called as the runners. And the branches that is the branch that is running horizontally to the soil, you call it as the runner. So for example, if this is the soil surface, here is a plant which with its branches, leaves and all those other parts, and they have a branch that is running horizontally to the soil, and when a node touches the soil perfectly, so they are going to have many nodes in between. Not all nodes are going to touch the soil. எந்த node வந்துட்டு soil touch பண்ணுதோ அதோட இந்த நோடில் இருந்து வந்துட்டு அண்டர் சைடில், that is towards the soil, roots will be formed, and on that there would be a vertical branch formed. திரும்பவும் இந்த பார்ட்டில் இருந்து வந்துட்டு there will be another horizontal branch formed. இந்த horizontal branch is going to have many nodes. Whenever a node is going to touch the soil, there would be roots formed and a vertical branch formed. So this branch, this horizontal branch is called as runner. So runnerல வந்துட்டு there can be many nodes and internodes. Example of plants that are forming runners is cynodon. This is doob grass, commonly called as odobras அருகம்புல்னு சொல்கிறோம் இல்லையா அந்த கிராஸ் இது. ஸோ தே ஆர் கோயிங் டு டெவலப் பை தட் இஸ் தே ஆர் கோயிங் டு க்ரோ பை ஃபார்மேஷன் ஆஃப் ரன்னர்ஸ். ஸோ இங்கே ஃபார்ம் ஆகிற ரூட்ஸ் வந்துட்டு தே ஆர் ஃபார்ம்டு ஃப்ரம் த நோட்ஸ் ஆஃப் தி ஸ்டெம். ஸோ திஸ் roots are going to be adventitious in nature. The second type of vegetative propagation with stem is offsets. Offset is also called as aquatic runner. That is, they are seen only in aquatic plants and they are normally forming vertical branches. There is going to be only one horizontal branch which is going to run on surface of water, and the only difference between offsets and runners is the offset is only one internode long, because on water the node that is formed immediately and the horizontal branch is going to be in contact with the soil. So for every node there is going to be a vertical branch and roots that are formed. So example of offsets is Eichhornia, which is commonly called as the terror of Bengal, because they can grow fastly. If this is the surface of water, there are vertical branches seen like this. So there would be many vertical branches from a single point like this, and a horizontal branch would be formed. This horizontal branch, so from one node there are many vertical branches and the adventitious roots on the surface of water, and this is the horizontal branch. This horizontal branch, the next node itself is going to touch water, form the next group of vertical branches. So next group of vertical branches as well as roots, again going to form a single horizontal branch which is going to touch surface within the second node. So this part of the plant which is going to be formed by the horizontal branch is called as offset. So for every node on the horizontal branch there would be vertical branches and roots formed. This is called as offsets. Offsets are also called as the aquatic runners. The third type of vegetative reproduction seen in plants is stolon. Stolon is similar to runner, but here it is going to be, here it is not going to run on the surface of the soil. That is anga horizontal branch nu paathom. Inge vanditu the horizontal branch is going to loop out from the soil surface. So it is not going to run horizontal to the soil surface. So it is going to so if this is the soil surface, if this is a branch that is the vertical branch that are seen in the plant, there is going to be a horizontal branch which is going to loop out on surface of soil like this. Then when it touches the soil, it is going to form the next vertical branch as well as the adventitious roots. So this is how it is going to keep moving from its place. So this structures, these looping out structures, we call it as stolon. Example of plants that are propagating by stolon formation is strawberry. The next type of reproduction is sucker. Sucker, here the branches are going to be, that is the plants that take up reproduction by sucker vanditu, they are going to have partly buried stem, that is semi-aerial stems, that is half of their branches, their stem is going to be underground, and from the underground, an underground branch of stem is formed, and this stem emerge out at a distance Once they emerge out at a distance, they are going to form vertical branches and adventitious roots also. Because they are forming adventitious roots also, we cannot consider them as simply branches. Because there is root formation, it is considered to be as a new plant. So if this is the soil surface, they have a part of their stem in the underground. Their underground branch is going to move through some distance like this, and they are going to emerge out at a particular point from the soil. At the point they are going to emerge out, they are going to develop the adventitious roots also. So here they are going to develop the stem. Similarly, this plant also is going to form an underground branch, and this underground branch again moves to a particular distance, emerge out of the soil, and at the point they are going to emerge out, they are going to form roots as well as the stem part. So such parts, so this branch is what is going to give rise to the new plant. This one is called as the sucker. And example of suckers is chrysanthemum. And the next type of reproduction is seen as rhizomes. Here in rhizome, the stem is going to be completely underground, and new plants can develop from buds formed on any node. So any node can give developed, even every nodes can develop into the complete plant. So sometimes every nodes, or sometimes a few nodes alone, they can give rise to a bud, and from that bud a complete plant can be grown. So the complete stem part is going to be underground. And example of plants that divide by rhizomes is ginger, turmeric, etc. So there are many plants, a few examples of ginger and turmeric. In case of, for example, நம்ம நீங்கள் ginger பார்த்துருப்பீங்க. So they will consider it is looking like this. You would have seen these lines on ginger, few lines with scales on it. இதில் வந்துட்டு these lines that are seen on the surface of ginger are going to represent the nodes, and small structures that are coming out are going to be called as the buds. And these buds, when it is broken and when it is placed in different places, can grow into the complete plants. And these scaly part that is seen are actually the scaly leaves. So this is the complete stem part. These are the scaly leaves, and these lines that are seen on the ginger are the nodes, and a small bud that is coming out is actually a vegetative propagule of this rhizome. And the next type of vegetative propagation seen is tubers. Tubers, these are also going to be formed from the underground stem, and these are usually swollen in nature. And swollen parts that are present underground, we call it as the stolon stem underground tubers. They will be called. Example is potatoes. In potato, so in a potato you would be able to see some dark spots on their surface. ஒரு ஸ்கார் மாதிரி, ஒரு தழும்பு மாதிரி சில நேரத்தில் தெரியும், இல்லை டார்க் ஸ்பாட், பிளாக் கலர் ஸ்பாட் மாதிரி தெரியும். திஸ் ஒன் இஸ் கால்ட் ஆஸ் ஐ ஆஃப் பொட்டேட்டோ. And this eye of potato, it is nothing but the node region of potato. So this is the node. From this node buds can be developed. When நீங்கள் பொட்டேட்டோ வாங்கி ரொம்ப நாள் வீட்டில் வச்சுருந்தாலே வந்துட்டு you will be able to see some buds developing from that regions. Those regions are buds, and each bud can grow into the complete plant. So this is a type of propagation seen in potatoes. The next type of vegetative propagation by stem is called as bulb. These are short stem with fleshy leaves, and these are also underground stem. Example is onion and garlic. In onion, we will be able to see a thick portion which we usually cut off when we consume it, and this portion, this is how the onion look like. So this portion is called as the stem. This is the stem, these are the roots, and these are the fleshy leaves. So when this stem portion is alone cut and placed into soil, they can grow into the complete plant. So this is also the stem part that is going to give rise to the whole plant. Similarly, in garlic also, each clove of the garlic is actually a fleshy leaf, and the stem portion is similarly present like that. So if this is going to be the stem portion, you are going to have the garlic cloves like this attached to the stem, and you would have the branches. The difference is they are each covered, and they are completely also covered. Onion, they do not have any covers for their leaves, whereas this garlic is going to have covers for their leaves. So it is also the stem portion. So when this portion is cut and placed into soil, they can grow into the complete plant. The next is corn. Corn is also a swollen underground stem part which is going to give rise to, or which is usually when taken and planted, they can give rise to the whole plant. Example of corn is Colocasia. Colocasia esculenta, which is commonly தமிழில் வந்துட்டு சேம்புன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. அது it is usually growing in places where there is more water. அதோட ஸ்டெம் வந்துட்டு கிழங்கு மாதிரி கீழே ஃபார்ம் ஆகுமா, மண்ணுக்கு அடியில் வந்துட்டு கிழங்கு மாதிரி ஃபார்ம் ஆகும். அந்த கிழங்கு வந்துட்டு எடுத்து வைக்கும்போது வந்துட்டு they can grow into the complete plant. So this is different types of vegetative propagations using the stem part of the plant. Next வீடியோவில் வந்துட்டு we will see about the vegetative propagation with roots, leaves, and artificial vegetative propagation seen in plants, and the sexual reproduction in organisms. Thank you, students.